When I talk about snakes, this could be situations, it could be people, it could be, systems, processes.
You know what? I think the biggest snake that anyone encounters is yourself.
There is this notion, and Indians call foreigners, here comes the Firang. At times, you may have not felt included.
In the beginning, when you asked me if I feel at home, and I said, I'm not sure if Mumbai feels at my home. Sometimes I feel like I'm more on the sideline of life in Mumbai than I feel part of it, and that is challenging.
Does society perceive ambitious and strong women as a threat?
Yes, I think so.
One of the reasons why women are not always ready to take up leadership mantle because there is a lack of sponsorship and mentors for them.
So I'm also my own biggest ladder, right?
Hello friends, welcome to the first episode of the Snakes and Ladders show with your host Ronita Sengupta. Well, I am not only excited but extremely honored and proud to have our first guest of the Snakes and Ladders show, none other than the gorgeous and talented firebrand Hilde Faber, the Chief Operating Officer of Canara Robeco. Well, Hilda joined Robeco in 2021 in Rotterdam. Prior to working with Robeco, she was part of the NN Group, a multi-line insurance and asset management company based out of Japan and Europe. Hilda holds a double majors in International Business Administration and Behavioral Psychology. Ladies and gentlemen, let us put our hands together for the very talented and dynamic young leader Hilde Faber in our show today. Welcome Hilda to the Snakes and Ladders show, and we are extremely happy and excited and, as I said, overwhelmed to have you with us here today. I'm sure you're feeling equally excited. So please tell us, how is it that you're feeling right now at this moment?
I'm so honored to be here, and I'm very excited that you're doing this. I think this is a great initiative and I'm happy to be part of it.
Thank you so much. So Hilda, you've had a phenomenal journey, You're very young and I've been reading about you. We've been following each other on LinkedIn, and I see that you are taking Canara Robeco, or the current organization, to the next level. And I'm sure it's been a very interesting journey for you, Hilda.
It is. I'm not sure if I'm the one that's taking it to a new level, but I'm definitely trying to make some changes, of course. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey so far. I've been here for 1.5 years, and it's not a second is boring.
Wow. So how does it feel to be in India now? From Netherlands to India, we're going to talk about that today in our show, but does Bombay feel like a home now, And how do you feel to be in this country with other people?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it feels like a home yet, but every day I'm getting more used to it. Because there is a lot to get used to, right? It's so different from my own culture and my own country. But yeah, I'm getting there.
Awesome. So we are going to have some very interesting conversation with Hilda today. And Hilda, my first question to you on this show today is that you have had an impressive and phenomenal career path. I get inspired, when I look at your journey. When I spoke to you, I felt extremely I would say overwhelmed that, at such a young age and becoming a COO, it's not a matter of joke. So many women out there tend to be, inspired by leaders like you. So starting with NN Group to your current role as COO of such a large multinational, how did you achieve this career milestone at a relatively young age? And what were the key factors to your success, Hilda?
That's a very difficult question, because how do you get anywhere, right? But I think there's a few things that are very important in anyone's career. And for me, that's, of course, talent, right? You need to be good at what you do. I think it's very important that you work hard, and also you need to have some luck. And when you have that luck, you also need to be able and daring to grab those opportunities. And I think that's something that I have been doing. And I think what has been very important, at least in my career, is that I've never taken any steps because I felt like it gave me a lot of money or status. I've always taken steps that I felt that brought me somewhere that I needed to be, or taught me something that I didn't know yet. And always with the idea that I would like to be a leader at one point, not necessarily in a C-level position, but just a leader. I just tried to kind of take opportunities that were in line with that.
I completely agree with you, Hilda. And the point of the show, by bringing in personalities like you, is to tell our women folks that, they need to start dreaming and they should dare to dream. Many women I see in our country today, have been conditioned in such a way that they just don't feel like aspiring for more. They are contented with, dealing with mediocrity, or they just don't want to move beyond a certain point. And I definitely feel that when you're going to be sharing your journey here today in this show, they will have their own, sources of inspiration to hear from you. And as I said, that, doesn't matter the age, the nation, or from whichever part of the world you are, it is all about, leadership that comes, and you can only become leader when you dream, in similar way, and you can dream big, and you have the abilities to make a difference, whether at an organization level, whether at, a societal level or at a national level. So thank you, Hilda, for sharing that bit. So my next question to you is that you moved from Netherlands to India, to take on your new leadership role. How did this geographical movement serve as a ladder in your career, like as an elevator? We would definitely want to know that.
I mean, it's such a big opportunity and such a big life change that it really it shook me, right? There's so many things that you don't understand here. Like in the Netherlands, I drink water from the tap. Here, I had to find out where to get my water from, right? So even the smallest, most basic things, you need to relearn. And that has given me an opportunity to relearn a lot of things that are important to me or that I do in daily business. So it really made me very conscious of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And I think 1.5 years later, that has settled. And I'm now very comfortable with the choices that I've made and the things that I've learned. So I think moving to any culture that is so different from your own, I think will teach anyone a lot.
Wow, that's a very, very well said statement. And I'm so happy to know that, you are extremely resilient and, you're flexible enough to not only adapt to the new culture, but looking at this as an opportunity, as an elevation for you. So yes, there's certainly a lot to learn from you, Hilda.
And I think, honestly, that is in life so important, to just be flexible and accepting for whatever comes your way, because I think that's the only way that you're also able to see the opportunities that come to you and give you the confidence to grab those opportunities.
True, I could not have agreed more. And coming to the next question, Hilda, in context of what we've just answered, managing a well-known asset management joint venture company requires a certain leadership style, okay? And I'm sure that you are here to ensure a performance-driven culture, because that is also one of the parameters to the organization's success. So how have you developed your leadership style to address the various challenges that I'm sure you have been facing on a day-to-day basis?
Yes, I think, again, that was something that I really had to relearn here, right? Because you're dealing with a different type of culture and different type of people and things that are important here. So that was something that I had to really establish over the last 1.5 years. For me, it's very important to do everything from a kind of intuitive mode. And I think it's very important to be authentic, right? So it's important to know what is important to you and what you want to drive in an organization. And I think based on that, and I have a lot of faith in my own intuition, it's very easy to see what you need to do. And as of my leadership style, to me, I want to have a lot of faith in the people that work for me. I want to give them a lot of responsibility, and I just want to make sure that they have the right tools, resources, and information to do their job. So that is the leadership style that I have developed in India.
Wow, that's phenomenal. And in context to what you've said just now, I feel why women make great leaders is exactly because of the qualities that you mentioned, that we are intuitive by nature. I think we go a lot by our intuition. We believe in empowering and enabling our people. And I think one of the best parts is that women have that flexibility, that agility, that they are able to adapt and embrace to any new culture, to new systems, even if it's a new geographical location and new norms, etc. So I believe definitely these are some of the key ingredients of great leadership, and women have it all. So, but then what, Hilda, I have a question and I'm curious to know. You've been dealing with a lot of male leadership, right? Okay, and what do you think exactly is the difference between a male at a leadership position at a C-suite level and a woman who's at a C-suite level dealing with the same set of problems, How do you think, their leadership style would differ?
I don't know if I can answer that question, because I think in essence it's still the person that does it, right? And I think if you have a really good leader in a man, I think he will have a lot of capabilities that a woman will have. And if you have a really good woman at the top, I think she will also have a lot of capabilities that a man has, right? So I think in essence it's just who is a good leader. And that can be a woman or a man. So I think there's not necessarily that much difference. What I do think is very different is when you're a woman, you know what women are dealing with. And I think that is definitely something that a man can never experience because he's a man.
Okay, now I'm going to get a little bit more controversial here. Do you think male leaders are threatened by women leaders?
Yes, sometimes, yeah.
Okay, I too believe that. And what do you think, can we really do in order to bridge this gap? What do we do to ensure that, women and, men, they kind of, walk this corporate path together in ensuring and fostering great leadership at an organization level? I just would like to know.
I think the first thing is women should not give up. It's very easy to get demotivated because not everyone likes it if you come in, especially as a young woman, but as a woman in general, that's not something that a lot of guys often like. Not all, but there are definitely men that don't love it. So it's very important to not give up, because if you give up, then you'll be replaced by a man very likely, and we're not there anymore. So it's important to keep going. It's important to keep elevating other women. And it's important to just keep having that debate. And even though that's not always, I think, a fun discussion or a discussion that a lot of people want to have, I think it's something that we need to keep saying and keep bringing or putting out there in order to keep the debate going.
Yes, definitely. I agree to that, Hilda. Well, it's time now to move to the snake segment of the show. And I'm going to ask you questions, Hilda, where I really want to know, and the audience would like to know, some of those snakes. And when I talk about snakes, this could be situations, it could be people, it could be, systems, processes, whatever, that may have come across your path. And we all, I'm sure, in our journey have faced these snakes in the form of pythons, king cobras and anacondas. That's what I would like to call them. But taking up the leadership mantle at a young age, that too in a male-dominated industry, and I'm harping on that because you will also agree to it, can be daunting. What were some of the biggest challenges, in quote, snakes that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
You know what, I think the biggest snake that anyone encounters is yourself, right? So I think it's very easy to get influenced by whatever society is saying or whatever image is out there, and by your own insecurities. So I think the imposter syndrome is real, right? And it's important that you keep telling yourself that you can do these things, right? And that you have to trust yourself. And honestly, each time when I go on a holiday and I come back, I have to kind of get back into it and convince myself that it is something that I can do. Because it can be daunting, right? And it's a lot of men, and it's a lot of people that are very experienced. And sometimes I'm like, what is it that I have to bring? And then it's hard to, keep convincing yourself and trust yourself. And obviously that is something that society has put in our minds, but it's something that's also in my mind, right? So biggest snake, and the biggest or the easiest snake also to tackle is yourself, because that's what you're influencing. So yeah, myself.
Brilliant answer, and extremely candid too. I don't think most of us would probably consider ourselves as the biggest snake. We would be holding something or someone else responsible, but that opens our eyes to the fact that we need to first get rid of the obstacle that we create for ourselves, maybe in our mind.
Yeah, but it's also, I'm also my own biggest ladder, right? So if I can take responsibility for the things that are not going right, I can also take the responsibility for the things that are going right. And I think that is such a powerful thing to realize, and definitely something that a lot of people it can help a lot of people.
Wow, that's truly awesome, Hilda. And I will now move on to the next question. And going back to your movement from Netherlands to India, when I'm going to talk about the snakes here, I'm talking about the cultural challenges that you may have had faced when you did this movement, because I'm sure, when people started seeing you in office or, anywhere across, in public space, there is this notion, and Indians called foreigners that here comes the Firang, okay? At times, you may have not felt included in that close group, in the office space or in the public space, and you would find people staring at you. That's a quite common phenomena when you see foreigners around in India, working with the Indian population. So how did you navigate that space?
Yeah, that's a difficult one. And I think in the beginning when you asked me if I feel at home, and I said, I'm not sure if Mumbai feels at my home, I think it's this reason. It's so difficult to feel like you're part of a culture when people constantly give you the feeling that you're not. So there's a lot of stares. So whenever I walk into any office, there's a lot of stares, and that makes me feel very, very self-conscious. And that makes it hard to feel at home, right? So sometimes I feel like I'm more on the sideline of life in Mumbai than I feel part of it, and that is challenging. Yeah.
I really hope you didn't have to feel it that way, but I certainly feel it takes a lot of courage to stay rooted where you are and not giving up. That really speaks a lot. So audience, that's Hilde Faber, fiery and extremely resilient and strong. And I'm sure, Hilda, that very soon you will find Mumbai as another home for yourself, and I'm sure people will be connected to you too,
sure.
Going with your personality.
Yeah, and it's also, again, there's a lot that I can do myself, right? So I'm trying to learn Hindi, so I'm more included in the culture. So I am trying, and I think every month I feel more included, but it's not, I think, the easiest culture to feel a part of.
Yeah, it's a very multi-dimensional culture in India, with different languages, people from all kind of and communities and different backgrounds. So one gets to feel a little overwhelmed, but I feel that Indian culture is also very beautiful and also very inclusive.
Yes.
So over a period of time, things generally set in, and India becomes home.
Yes, and it is a beautiful culture, and don't get me wrong, I'm very happy to be in it. It's just because also so much is focused on, for example, rituals, right, that I don't have a feeling with. So it's hard to understand that and be part of it.
I completely get that.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure that you will agree, Hilda, that facing setbacks is a part of leadership. So can you share a specific instance where you encountered a significant challenge or a setback in your career, and how did you manage to turn the situation around for yourself?
Yes, sure. Let me think. So I remember that it was quite at the beginning of my career. I was hired in a team, and I was hired, I think, with a little bit of the premise that I was a talent, right? So we started working on this project, and McKinsey was involved, so I had to work alongside McKinsey. And I was working as an equal or a peer to them. But that was hard, right? Because it was my second year of working altogether. And you have to work alongside these very experienced McKinsey consultants. My manager was expecting a lot from me because I was a talent. So I constantly felt like I wasn't living up to expectations. And I don't think that was just a feeling. I think I wasn't living up to the expectations. So before I came to this job, I had an amazing manager in my previous job. And I spoke to her about it. She was a woman, and she was one of the people that really empowered me to have a lot of faith in myself, and I think she was one of the reasons I was considered a talent. So I spoke to her about it, and she offered to come and speak to my current manager, and I think she gave him a hard time. But after he realized that I might be a talent, but that doesn't mean that I'm already ready to do a job that someone with 10 years of experience is doing. So then he really started coaching me and helping me, and within a year I was completely turned around, and I was a full-fledged member of the team, and I think the talent that I was supposed to be. But yeah, that was a very tough situation, because you constantly feel like you're not performing up to the standard that you're expected to. But yeah, that previous manager of mine really, really helped, and she was definitely a ladder in my career.
Phenomenal. That brings me to the point that one of the reasons why women are not always ready to take up leadership mantle because there is a lack of sponsorship and mentors for them in any industry that they belong to. I think if more and more people, from the top leadership comes across, and especially women as mentors to the other women in their organization or in any other profession that they belong to, I'm sure we would be able to close on this gap, which I believe that you were really lucky, from this incident that you related.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so before we move on to the next segment, Hilda, we would like you to share some words of wisdom for our aspiring leaders, especially the women folk, because they, in their own sphere, would be facing a lot of snakes, in their journey towards fulfillment of their career or, moving to the positions of leaders in their own sphere. What advice would you like to give them so that they can navigate through this journey of snakes?
I think that's what I said before, right? In the end, most important is that you believe in yourself. So even if no one else believes in you, you can still believe in yourself. So if you tune out the noise that is there and focus on yourself and what matters, I think that will be so powerful that even if you have a lot of snakes in your life, you can be your own biggest ladder.
Great. Fantastic answers from Hilda. Thank you so much, Hilda. It's time for us now to move to the next segment and the most exciting part of the show. Well, friends, it's now time to move on to the most interesting segment of the Snakes and Ladder show. We are going to have the Snakes and Ladder game right in front of us, where I will request my guest of honor, Hilda, to show her skills in throwing the dice. Should she fall on the face of the snakes, she's going to answer us some really explosive questions in one word. Should she choose the ladder, and luckily, if it falls on the ladder block, we are going to ask her questions of elevation. And if the dice rolls into the blank columns or the blank boxes, we are going to ask her questions which are going to be in safe space. Are you ready for this, Hilda?
I'm a little bit nervous, but yes.
Awesome. Hilda, I would request you to pick up the dice. Let's see how expert Hilda is as Shatranj ki khilari now. Let's get started. Okay. Oh my God, Hilda. So you get a snake at the first roll. Can we have the queen on the snake's block? Okay. I have a question for you, Hilda, and this is going to be an explosive one. Who or what has been the most poisonous snake in your personal ladder?
Yeah, like I said myself, I think in essence it's always yourself in that sense. Yeah, so maybe boring answer.
All right, Hilda, it's time to play the game now. I will request you to pick up the dice and let's see how you roll it.
4.
Okay.
So.
All right. And you get a ladder, Hilda, so you move up to 5.
Wow.
So we have a ladder question for Hilde Faber here. So Hilda, my question to you is, one word for your next big goal.
I'm going to follow wherever life takes me. So, destiny?
Wow, that's so really nice, and I do believe that destiny plays a very big role. Okay, can we move on with the next roll of dice? 3.
A ladder again.
Okay, another ladder question coming for Hilda. So, I would like you to answer this. Your one punchline to those who had underestimated you and your capabilities.
I hope they're gonna look again when they meet anyone that they underestimate.
Wow, that's phenomenal and fantastic. Let's move on to the next round. That's a 6.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, that brings Hilda to the face of the snake, and we're going to go down and a little down. Oh my God. So Hilda, are you ready for the snake question?
Yes, bring it on.
Okay, all right. So my question to you is, what is that one biggest professional regret?
I don't have professional regrets because it has brought me where I am today. But there are definitely things that happened in my career that I would have rather not have happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very honest and candid. All right, should we play the next?
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, that's one, and that brings you to a safe space. So
Lovely.
My question to you is, Hilda, does society perceive ambitious and strong women as a threat? If yes, then why?
Yes, I think so, because I think still very often people have a very traditional idea of what a family should look like. And when women start being very ambitious and not following that stereotype, I think it does threaten some people.
Yeah, I agree to this, and in fact, I have faced this particular, instances in my life also. It brings me back where, I've been questioned that why and where is the need to spend so much of time at workplace, why is it that we're not giving time enough at home? So I definitely resonate that with you, but I hope the scenario changes soon for women across the globe. Okay, it's time to play the next round. All right, you have a ladder here. Okay, it's a snake. So sorry. We are going down once again, Hilda, and just hope you play better. Okay, no worries. We still have some more chances to go. Okay, so my question to you is, one trait in people that you just cannot stand?
If they are not willing to look further than what they already know.
Okay, that's quite candid, of course, and I agree with you as well. Let's move on to the next. That's one.
Safe space.
Brings you to safe space. Okay, let's see what is the safe space question here. Okay, my question to you is, what is the best way to elevate others up in their career?
I think it's very important to give people faith in themselves and be really vocal about what you see in them and how they can also improve even further. But I think it's super important that, especially with other women, I try to be really vocal about what I see. And if I see talent in them, I try to really give them a lot of opportunity. Because I think, I know what it feels like. So I really want to have other women also be there with me.
Wow, that's just the answer of a true women elevator. And Hilda, we are so proud of you that you're doing so much and at such a young age. So we believe that we need more women leaders or leaders like you. I think I should put it that way, to bring women up and help them succeed, help them move to the next level. And I really hope that you continue doing this great stuff. Okay, well, that was quite an interesting turn of game, Hilda, and though you kept on falling on the snake's mouth, but what I really saw that you just didn't give up, okay? And we've had some very interesting questions that you answered. But to the audience, I would definitely want to say that was Hilde Faber, because as a woman, doesn't matter whether she falls at the mouth of the snake, but she chooses not to give up, which makes her a queen, and a queen will always reach to the top. It's time for us now to bring the show to an end. It was a real, I think, entertainment part for us to play this game with you. I hope you enjoyed it as much.
Absolutely.
Hilda, we wish you all the very best, and we definitely look forward to you doing your great work and keep on inspiring not only women but men as well on their path to leadership. And on behalf of the Snakes and Ladders show by Ronita Sengupta, me and my team would like to present you with this memento, okay?
Oh, that's so
and
lovely.
To tell you that you're a true woman elevator, and please keep up your massive work in the journey of women elevation. So here is a small memento from us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for making it to the Snakes and Ladders show. Thanks a lot.
Thank you
Hilda.
so
Yeah.
much.
Yes.
Thank you.